And might need to switch OBS from Steam to something else. Rude. Hey, what up, nobles? I know I'm rude. Could you invite me, wife?
How?
Shift tab. Wait, I'll walk over to you. Invite to game.
Nothing's gonna ever keep you down. You're the best around. And nothing's gonna ever keep you down.
Why did enemy beep start emote only? Because I accidentally shut down the stream. Here we are. Hello, wife. Oh, we have so much money.
Shall we buy a server or a cleaner?
You made a character.
What?
Have you made a new avatar?
Oh yeah, I did that yesterday.
Nice. You have boobs. Grid 500, 500 poop. It's not working on Koski. I don't know how the grid thing works, honestly. You wanted to buy a server, right, Wef?
Well, I'm thinking server would be good. Where did you see them? Can you read about them?
It's furniture, I'm pretty sure. And helper waiter house and helper cleaner house. Those are the only ones. Like that's the only thing I can see.
Ooh, 1,800. Damn.
Yeah, they cost a bit.
It's a very good investment.
It is a good investment, yes. Ooh, but we need chickens.
Alright, shall we wait another night with the helper and stuff?
We could.
Right.
Need barley, water, and 2 chickens. Shall we buy chickens?
Buy chickens.
Hey, Miss Frankenstein. Hello. I am very tired today. Don't have any energy at all. How is the wife?
The man, the myth, the meme?
The man, the myth, the meme. How is wife? How are you feeling, wife?
I am good.
Very good. Put barley. Wife is the best and we do love her. What the fuck was that? Did you hear that?
Yeah. Was that you?
No. I think so. Put 2 chickens in the paddock. Can be released in a paddock. Where's my redeem at? Yeah, I cancelled it because I'm having a really off day today. So I took away a bunch of redeems. Terribly sorry, nobles. This is bullshit. Or is it the way the cookie crumbles? Moo. How the fuck do I release the chickens in the paddock then? That's 1,000 burpees for the removal of the redeem. Nope. That's not how it's how it works. Do you fancy learning some Swedish? Why can't I put the... I can't put the chickens in the paddock, wife. I have the chickens but I can't put them in the paddock.
Okej.
Oh, nu får jag bara prata svenska också. Okej, men då är det bara svenska. Startar du timer också? Inimi. Tack. Vadå? Ja, din bot funkar inte jättebra inne med.
Vad är det då?
Ja, nu gick jag ut i bakgården. Men jag stod här vid paddocken. Och liksom jag har en kyckling på mig. Men alltså jag vet inte vad jag ska göra. Jag ska dricka lite vatten. Vad jag gör samvis. Jag spelar med min fru och pratar svenska. Roliga tillfällen från detta spelet. Okej.
Well, maybe I have to put down the chicken since it's my say.
Så kan det vara. Jag lägger dem i lådan inne i huset. Vi har kycklingar i en låda. Du förstod ditt namn, Sam. Men det är bra ändå. Det är stabilt liksom. Ska vi se här. Ja, men vi kan faktiskt göra en sån. Bra jobbat, Sam. Jag tog bort tröjan också. Jag sa det, jag har en lite off-dag idag. Så vi tar det bara lugnt. Och ska inte göra alldeles för häftiga grejer. Ja. X bygger en fabrik. Coolt. Ja, det är ett riktigt bra spel. Jag tog bort den också, X. Det är lite för mycket ljud för tillfället. Gud, jag har bara tagit bort massa grejer från er. Mina tittare får ingenting, älskling.
It's a drag and drop.
Ah, okej. Men va?
He's trying to provoke me here.
Jag försöker provocera massa av er. Okej. Kyckling! Det är 2 stycken.
Chippy chippy, chopper chopper doobie doobie, dabba dabba magical me doobie doobie, boom 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 boom, chippy chippy chopper chopper doobie doobie, dabba dabba magical me doobie doobie, boom.
Nej, jag tog upp den som...
Nu har vi 3. Hur har vi 3?
Jag plockade upp en av dem. Och så att, okej. Bugg. Men då har vi 3 stycken. Kul. Bra jobbat, X. Ah, det var därför vi hade 3. För att 2 av dem parade sig och skapade en 3:e. Ja, kolla. Nu är en 4:e där också. Vadå, vad ska vi göra efter vi har... Wow. Typ inte döda dem. Vad tror du om det? Okej. Vi behöver eld. Nej, chatten kan vara vad som helst. Frankenstein. Sassy baka. Okej, men då har vi lite uppdrag, älskling. Men okej, vi har också 1 och 4. Vill vi köpa någonting med det? Vill vi flytta om lite grejer? Vill vi göra något häftigt? Vi har massa utrymme nu. Har du tänkt på det? I can speak English again. I think my wife stopped listening to me as well. She doesn't like it when I speak Swedish. Not privately either. Hello, wife?
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes? Have you been ignoring me?
Yes.
Why? Why have you been ignoring me? She continues to ignore me.
I love you.
Asshole. You can't say that you love me and then ignore me.
Oh, what the fuck?
Are you over by the bees?
The hornets are friggin' huge.
You need fire for them. Did you buy a thing?
I have fire.
Nice. Fire! Alright, I'm running towards the hornets. By the way, for about a month I've been practicing the correct writing on keyboards, so now I have the correct finger placement and I have better speed. Total practice time of 13. Oh, Jesus Christ. Alright. You say you love me and ignore me. So what the fuck? Wait, what did I ignore you, Nobles? No, it was Swedish only. That's not me ignoring you. Wifey is working, don't interrupt her. Do what the fuck I want.
I'm dying.
Don't! Stop dying.
I died.
Oh, but yeah. It's a lot of like back and forth when you fight. A whole lot of back and forth actually. Like annoyingly so. I killed the hornet that killed... well, not the hornet that killed you, but... Ouchies. I died. Save the wifey. You let her die, monster. I didn't let her die. Wife died. That's true. You are a monster. Wife, do you hear? They call me monster because I didn't save you.
Yes.
No, I'm not a monster.
I really need a crossbow.
Right? Okay. So if I charge up the hit... Doctor's disposable, he can die, but the wifey must live. I haven't checked in on her life insurance lately. Are you trying to become independently wealthy, Doc? No comment.
Oh, they're mad.
Right? Throwing hornets? Oh, fuck off with that shit. So some of these fuckers are shooters. Oh, hey Pixie, thank you. Very much appreciate it. He's hiding something. I haven't hidden anything in my entire life. I died again. Fuck me. Thank you so much, Pixie. I am your little slut. This is true. Have you survived, wife?
Nah, I'm dying.
I died, so. That is what.
Ooh, but bird nests with a torch. I've done. Have you burnt the nests?
We've done 3 out of 4.
Have you done 3?
No, I think you have done 2 and I've done 1.
Oh, good. Keep them busy.
Wifey is the best. This is very, very true. Okay, the throwing hornets are a bit easier. Yeah, I only got the 20 HP left. Oh my gosh.
I am helping.
You did help. I think you literally saved my life. That's the norm for you, Dr. Vem. Oh, come on. Doctor is Chatsbits.
Now we return to Cal.
Wifey is very much the best. We do what we want with him. You're making it sound like I'm a very cheap prostitute here. And I'm not okay with that. I am... If I were a prostitute, I would be expensive. We are the puppet masters. Sick. That's true, you're actually quite expensive. Oh, this is gonna be a joke about, like, the wife keeping me in Monster and games. Do you think we can kill bears now, wife?
I do not think so, no.
I will try.
What?
Like, if I find them, I'll try. The worst thing that can happen is I die again. Mark Peppers. We do also throw money at you. This is very true. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, Morse, thanks for the resub. That literally started a hype train as well. Holy shit.
I'm gonna be the
Kenichi,
prettiest
what's
girl
up?
at the party.
I'm gonna be the prettiest girl at the party.
Jesus Christ in heaven, so much is happening. Oh, me baby. It's all you, Morse. You are a wonderful resubscriber. Making the hype train. I mean, it's probably also Pixie's bits and stuff. No, my sub ended one day after 6 months. Seriously, like your 6 month sub ends in a day. That's insane. Oh, much better lighting. There we go. Hey, Soul.
Welcome to All Things Scottish. Our slogan is, if it's no Scottish, it's crap!
I'm gonna make your sub haiku soon, Morse. Just need to get back. Ooh. Do. What should we write about Mr. Morse? Or to Mr. Morse? Heyo Vemsky, hey nobles, hey, hello nobles, hey. Hello. Look up, you fuck. What the fuck do you want, dude? I'm trying to write a haiku here. Oh, hey, there you are. Guess what? Chicken butt. No, what? What's up, nobles? Listen. Oh, come on. Yeah, thanks for being here, X-Gamer. Hope you have fun in your factory. This was out of love. Oh no, he did another one of those. Oh my gosh.
Nobles TV asked me, Dr. Vem is so bad at everything that the Redeem wasn't just a fun channel reward, it was his public scoreboard of failure, and he couldn't take the heat. Every time it popped up, it was just another reminder that he's a walking disaster, whether it's gaming, strategy, or basic
Jesus,
coordination.
thanks for this.
Instead of leveling up his skills, he pulled the classic Vem move. Duck the challenge, hide from the smoke, and pretend it never existed. He didn't remove the redeem to improve, he removed to hide. Lil twat.
Oh my god, already with the
Nobles
bits. Yo, thank you so
TV.
much.
You're spilling the tea like a pro. If this streamer's such a disaster, maybe I should hop in and steal the show. Bet I could turn that failure into a slam dunk. What's your move, hot stuff?
What the fuck? Lola Bunny just straight up dissing me. My god. With a sexy voice and everything as well. Thanks, nobles. It's very, very nice of you. Jesus fucking Christ. Love you too, broski. Alright. I got Morse's haiku here as well. Gonna have to add that to the list. LOL. Sick. Spank Emporium buddies, you too. We truly are. Mr. Morse, your haiku is here. In your beard it grows. Masculinity AF. Cuddles with homies. There you go.
Shall we open?
Yes, I'm all for opening. Honk, indeed. Let's cook that shit. You also found a bunch of honey, huh?
And potions.
Oh, nice. Oh, speed potion, feather potion. Quick way to lose weight. Sick.
Pass the mouse!
Customize. Costumers. Where's the push-up redemption? I removed it today because I'm having an off day. I done told you. Let's see here. Fried boar steak. Beer mug. Yeah, we got all of that stuff. Nice. Do, do, do. So there will be no push-ups today. Good sir. Yes, yes, Soul Thread. Love for us all. Love for the whole gang. We're gonna put that there. Oh, fuck. There we go. Served 500 dishes, seriously? Alright, leave it up. I turned off the music because it got a bit too much with everything else. Let's make some corn. Wow, do you see that? My wife just stole the dishes I put out. Yo, yo, yo! Hey, Pixie, really? Why? Thank you so much. You're too kind. Oh my gosh, that is a beautiful emote as well. Respectfully, no. Oh my gosh. The really angry hedgehog. Holy shit! Jesus fucking Christ! Like a ray of sunshine, the angry hedgehog appears. What up, hedgehog? How you been? That is insane. For all of you who has not seen the really angry hedgehog here yet, this is a legend. This is a Twitch legend. Kiss wife. Alright. I will kiss my wife. Kisses. Oh, sunshine? Me? It's probably just light bulb behind me. No, no, no. You literally bring the sunshine, friend.
In the fields the body's burning as the hedgehog is returning.
Put water in the dishwasher thing?
I can. If you behave.
Never.
Oh shit! Zombie! They're like I went out and literally a zombie came in. I died. Hey Ducky.
Oh, I died immediately! What the fuck?
Really?
Yeah! Like, first hit.
How much HP did you have?
I have no idea. But I guess not very much.
No. Wait, did you buy these books?
Yes! No! I did not buy them. I found them. By looting.
Oh really?
Dishwasher!
Yes, Jesus fucking Christ, I'm sorry. There were zombies and shit. You're too kind, my friend. I appreciate you. No, I appreciate you, friend. Love the hedgehog. Oh my gosh. I can't wait until Hedgehog starts streaming as well. Only Hedgehog related games. Or is it Fortnite? Yeah, Really Angry Hedgehog is super cute. Wait, let me see here. Settings, sound. There we go. Apply. Hedgehog has no classes or experience.
Just listen to the rhythm of my heart. There's a chance we can make a hedgehog. With a rocket till the sun goes down. Family on a thing called hedgehog.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful.
I need more water.
Where?
Dishwasher.
Water has been added to dishwasher. Let's see, there we go. Oh, shit, right. We don't have any boar anymore.
Alright, shall I tell her change order?
You can tell her to fuck right off.
Beer luck.
Barley porridge? Got some barley porridge for you right here. There you go. Oh my gosh. We really like it when you're just here as well, Hedgehog. Your mere presence is a gift from the gods themselves. The hedge gods. Oh, where did you find bapples? I mean, fucking eggs. Were they in the paddock?
Yeah. Chickens lay eggs.
What? We got slop as well. Alright. Boiled corn over here. And another boiled corn over there. There we go. We are just having a good time here. With our little tavern. We made a lot of money as well, darling. Am I quiet?
Yes, we are the best.
We're pretty good, I'd say. Oh my gosh. Well, we're getting like a ton of customers as well. Oh, we found, now we have a press, grape seeds. Cool. Let me do some dishes. Oh my gosh. Man, people have been really nice today. Just throwing bits and subs and everything. It's too kind. Far too kind. I was planning on doing a cooking stream. And again. What the fuck?
Dr. Vem might catch a lot of heat, but at the core, he's one of the most caring and
what the
genuine
fuck?
streamers out there.
Oh,
He
no.
actually takes the time to
I
connect
drank
with
a
his
beer.
viewers, making everyone feel welcome like they're part of the crew. He's got this real,
Aw.
no fake energy vibe
Dude.
that makes his community stick around. Not just for the games, but for him.
You can't
And yeah,
like diss me
every
and then
now
be
and then
nice.
he'll drop a joke or a moment so unexpectedly funny it has chat and stitches. Beneath the banter,
Oh my gosh.
he's
dude.
proof that kindness exists.
That is super fucking sweet. That is really, really sweet of you, Nobles. But yeah, I agree with Samwise. It sounds nothing like Borat. It sounded like Sacha Baron Cohen though, but not like Borat. Oh my gosh. That was really, really sweet, dude. How come? Why would you be this sweet? Oh, come on. Even more cheers. This is so insane. Thank you, Pixie. Jesus fucking Christ. You are, y'all are too kind. Too kickity kind. Just take it, stripper boy. Well, now I feel dirty. Ooh. Gonna take the barrels. What do we need? We need
Dishwater. I really need to buy a barrel.
you mean buckets?
Yes.
Them, can you see when I mark stuff Joy? Where's my emoji's not working? I mean, I can see that you're marking it like the Joy one, but I can't see the emoji itself. No. I'm terribly sorry. Yeah, I think we can like afford a bucket or two. Quaff.
I think so as well.
You think so? We're gonna cook. Not that marker, Twitch markers. I can't tell if it shows up only for me or all editors mods. Oh, I don't, it doesn't, like there's no marker message for me in chat, if that's what you're wondering. When you mark something. So it's probably only for you then.
Why are the drunkards farting so much?
Are the drunkards farting?
Yes.
Farty drunkies. Okay, when I'm here, I'm gonna be using them because I figured out how to use them correctly. Nice!
I'm gonna go buy a bucket.
That makes me really happy. You're gonna buy a bucket?
I'm buying a bucket.
So you're not saying fuck it?
I might.
Wow. He's very angry. We're gonna make a beer barrel? Beer costs gas. I mean, it does. It does. We've all heard a burp or two when people have been drinking beer. Even my dear wife has been known to let out a burp or two
What?
when drinking beer.
Hearsay.
I hear it. There we go. Cook that shit. I mean, there should be clean dishes everywhere now. So if you need clean dishes, just take them, and I'll try to gather up the dirty ones. Do you hear me, wife?
What?
Do you hear me, wife?
Yeah.
I said there are clean dishes, so you can just gather, like, take the clean ones and use them, and I'll gather up the dirty ones when I can. Oh, my lord.
Shall we purchase a server now?
Yeah, I'm 100% for a server.
And see how it is.
I think for the servers, you gotta put stuff out here on the dish thingies. Rawr, rawr.
Holy shit! There's a shit ton of people coming in right now.
Nice.
How the fuck? Rotate? What the hell is that? What's in the owl?
Yeah.
It's a teeny tiny owl!
It's a teeny tiny owl.
Did you know this?
I mean, I kind of guessed, considering that there are owls in the loading screen.
Oh my god, it's a teeny tiny owl!
It's a teeny tiny owl. Shit. It's a teeny tiny owl. Do you have a bucket now?
Yes.
Nice. Fill it with water. Oh my gosh. Teeny owl. Teeny tiny owl.
That is adorable.
Right? Isn't it just?
But I think I placed it wrong.
You should be able to move it.
Well, I'll do that later.
Are you hitting drunkards again?
Yes! They should be hit.
Wow. You heard it here first, chat. My wife thinks that you should hit people who are drunk. So if you are drunk, don't let my wife catch you. Or do let her catch you if you want to get hit. I know some of y'all are kinky like that. Where did you go, wife?
I'm washing dishes.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that because, like, there are so many dishes out here already. Alright, a spanking, sure, I'm down. Oh, Pixie. Oh, Pixie. Dirty, dirty minded. Booping ducky. Oh my gosh. I love all the hedgehog emotes as well. They're so cute. You know what, we're gonna This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna have the lo-fi on. Alright. Cook that shit. Oh, we got too much porridge. Let's go. There we go. There. Alright, we're out of barley now, I think.
Okay, shall we close then? I need to do some gardening.
Yeah. Do you want to close it?
Yep.
Ducky's having a dance in chat. Thank you for your patronage. Please, may you all get the fuck out of my place right now. Oh my god, and it sits on its little thing, like perched there?
Yeah, I'm thinking we should put it in one of the rooms, right?
Maybe. Wait, we can put stuff in its chest? Do you think we can, like, load it up with food and drink before the day even starts?
Oh, we can buy a dishwasher, right?
Yeah, an automatic dishwasher.
Yay! Let's do that.
Alright, I'll go out and buy it. Or do you want to do it?
No, you can do it. It's fine.
It's fine. Have to do a butt wiggle. We all have to wiggle our butts at times. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Auto dishwasher. Dirt won't clean itself. Should we buy 2? No. A beehive?
Slag!
Should we have a cleaner house as well? I'm buying a cleaner house.
Ask to stay. Wait, I will move this one. I'm thinking we should put it in like one of these back rooms, right?
Yeah, probably. I got a server one here as well.
That is so cute.
Right? Helper cleaner. Oh my god, it just immediately
Oh, this I gotta see.
runs about. Wait, what are you gonna do, little owl? You gonna clean this dirt
Oh,
here?
it's a cobweb!
Oh my gosh. Can it reach the cobwebs even? Okay, so maybe the cleaner owl won't grab the
No, it does not take cobwebs.
No, like, will it grab the dirty dishes, is what I'm thinking.
I mean, it does take cobwebs.
Nice!
It's so cute!
Awesome. Oh my gosh. Right, the auto dishwasher is the best thing ever.
Yeah?
Yeah. You load water in the top and you load dirty dishes in. And then it pours them out here. Also, I bought some grape seeds. Do we know what the compost even does?
Oh yeah, I've used it. It makes fertilizer. And
Yeah.
I use it to fertilize the plants.
Yeah, that much I gathered, but like, what does the fertilizer actually do?
This I don't know yet.
Do we get like extra stuff?
No, I get oh wait! I got extra corn. Yeah.
Nice! Pixie just bombarding chat. Love them. What are these? There's a little marijuana leaf. That's Noble's one as well, yeah. Mike Myers with a bomb. Are those new emotes in Noble's stream? I'm thinking I'm gonna buy another single burner stove and maybe an oven. No wait, we don't have enough for both. Should I buy an oven?
Mm-hmm. We need to make a cupcake for
Yeah, I think we should try to like make just new food in general. Haha. We have oven. Alright, so a cupcake is barley, water, egg, and honey. We need 10 eggs.
dang, what's that?
I mean, yeah, but... Oh, I ate the boiled corn.
We do need more storage.
Yeah. Need beer barrel, hop water. Fuck. My new one from the hype train. Nice. There's a balloon animal blowing itself up. Weird. Mary Jane ones are his new emotes. Dope. They look super cute. I think this one is my favorite right now. Ooh, it looks really cool. Looks really, really cool actually. We need to buy barley, but we also want barley seeds. Yes. I am your god. This is true.
No, the little cleaning owl is. It's so cute.
You're dying.
I'm dying. But I need another server owl.
Like you want one more, or you need one more?
Need it.
That was real fast.
Definitely need it.
Wait, let me just, because this is annoying the fuck out of me. There we go.
Oh, god fucking damn it!
What?
We got so many eggs.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah! Oh my gosh. I'm loving it. I'm just gonna kill a chicken or two, maybe? Wait, no, I can just pick them up.
What the hell?
What the hell?
Why?
I picked up a couple chickens. Because I'm thinking maybe I can kill them? Aha! I didn't want to kill them in front of the others.
Okay, now we just need 10 barley.
Yeah, I bought some barley seeds as well. What?
Barley seeds? Okay.
I bought some barley seeds, yeah.
I'll go plant.
You will plant? We got enough for more cupcakes as well after that.
We got more honey?
Yeah.
Now grow, my piggies, grow.
You can grow. Right, the cow wants a cupcake, of course. Fat cow.
But is it all those ingredients just to make one cupcake? Seems successful.
I think it's not the one cupcake. I think it's gonna be, yeah, it's 5 cupcakes. Alright, we got those things. Grape juice, boiled chicken eggs. Did you burp?
Yes.
Nice. Nice. I'm loading one of the chickens, or the server chicken, the server owl, up with food, and I'm gonna boil some eggs. This is a good couples game. We have real life experience in sharing chores already. I agree that it's a good couples game, for sure. But I'd say that the wife is the one who has done most of the chores in our home. And I need to get better at it. Well, lately I've done a fair amount of chores, but you know. Oh my gosh, cupcakes.
I'm bringing a cupcake to the cow.
To the cow. Le cow.
Moo moo, motherfucker.
Indeed, moo moo motherfucker. Cow quest is complete. Dope.
Banner of abundance.
Ooh, nice. Put it up.
My bat?
No, yes.
Up my butthole.
Yes, right up your booty hole.
How do you put it up?
Wait, I'm gonna show you. You go over here. Banner manager. And you hold E to deposit. And then you go into open.
Oh.
And you select it and you set it as the right or the left one. Now it's red. It's not the abundance one. Yeah, nice.
30% chance to harvest double meat from domestic animals.
Oh Jesus, that's good though. That's really good actually.
Okay, cool. Cool.
Cool. Let me see here. Oh, we need level 10 to be able to fry the chicken. But yeah, next time we've been open for a little while, we should definitely buy new burners and stuff. Expand the kitchen, you know. Don't you think, Quaff?
Well, I'm considering the layout over here, and it's not great.
Do you want to redo that and I can go hunt bears?
Yeah.
I'm just going to take all these. Beer mug. I'm going to do a quick delivery quest as well. For bear. There we go. I am really enjoying this. This is such a cozy game. Hello. Oh, there's a bear. Alright, chat. Let's see if I can fight a bear with an axe. Whoa. Alright, I gotta time it. Whoa. Okay, I can fight the bear. It's fucking not the easiest shit ever.
Ah, it's the owl!
The owl?
Yes, it's a cleaning owl. He's out and about again.
You're making a fool of yourself, you fucking labradoodle!
I died.
I love him so much.
I died.
I love him.
Like, is he taking up dishes as well? Like dirty dishes and stuff?
We don't have any dirty dishes.
Alright. It's true. Do you want me to open and see if you can manage by yourself?
Excuse fucking you?
Excuse fucking you? Stody is here. Oh. Die, zombie. I think it was a wolf that killed us just now. I'm gonna collect more apples. Apples? I think we can buy like an insect net as well, wife. And maybe we can use that to catch bees and make beehives. What do you think?
Beehive. Get
Divorce. Divorce.
No.
Oh, I found a painting in a loot barrel. Very nice painting as well. There's another bear. There we go. Are these wolves? I think they're motherfucking wolves. I don't want to kill wolves at the moment. I want to kill bears. Alright, never mind. We're gonna kill wolves, apparently. I died again. Fuck me. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I didn't mean to kick you. I'm sorry, wife. Oh. Says we should talk to the merchants.
An old acquaintance of mine can't leave her house. Seems like something happened to her. I would visit her myself, but why bother when I have you?
Alright, thanks, I guess. Hello, wife. Are you on your phone?
Yes, I'm taking a break.
Nice. Ooh. Very nice painting. Oh no. Did I eat one of them? The fuck? Alright, that's super weird. That means it was lagging, right? Has to be. Hello, chickens! Chickens, chickens! Alright, yeah. Something is up with the connection between our computers.
What?
Something is up with the connection between our computers.
What happened?
I'm trying to do stuff in the game and it won't let me. Because the
What are you
connection
trying
is
to do?
bad. I'm trying to pick up eggs, I'm trying to put away stuff. Now it's working again. Somewhat. Fell poisoned bears. What happened?
Zombie!
I shall return to you, my wife, and protect you.
I killed him!
Very good.
But there can't be only one zombie, right?
There can be.
What?
Why shouldn't there be?
They get lonely?
I've found lonely zombies out in the woods and stuff. Just like one standing around. Thinking about the choices he made.
died.
You died?
Yeah.
That is horrible.
Death by pig.
You tried to kill a pig?
Yeah.
And it killed you?
Yeah. Shit happens. I'm not ashamed.
No, you shouldn't be ashamed.
Ooh, Bluetooth barrel.
Did you buy one?
No.
But you found one? Or you saw that you can make one?
Yeah.
Oh shit, yeah, it's lagging. I'm gonna murder a frog. A couple of frogs, I think. Oh! Nice, they don't fight back or anything either.
That's even worse.
What do you mean worse? It makes it much easier to murder them. How's that a bad thing? An order has a
The tavern is left without anyone to look after it.
Sånt svineri. I shouldn't go too far. Okay. I mean, my wife is there. Oh, now I got sånt svineri because it för döda svin. I'm not eating frog. Well, we might have some French customers. Who knows? Get it? Because the French are frog eaters.
I will plant grapes.
Do it! Oh, come on. Oh, what's this? What's this? A recipe scroll for mushroom soup! Interesting. Now, how the fuck do I get home? Because, like, we still don't have a map or anything. Got a couple frog legs. Got a little bit of boar meat. Being hunted by something that I can't see. Wait, I could also just die and I'll appear back home. Or, you hear me out. Could follow the signs.
That's one of my favorite things about this.
That if you die, you just end up back at home?
Yeah, you don't lose any...
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah. No, like, it costs you gold.
What?
It costs you gold to revive, but that's about it.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
If you have only a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like it's a percentage of what you have.
Yes. And your food doesn't burn. Oh, that's you. Hello.
Hello!
We have grapes.
I lost my axe. But very good that we have grapes. What the fuck was that? Did the stream hear that as well? The break, break. That sounded
Was it my bat?
That sounded super fucking... Yeah, it's... Yeah. What the fuck?
Interested in making a deal?
That's really weird. Why would it sound like that? Sounds like sound artifacting. Maybe I should just log out and in again. No, it's still... Alright, so if we log out entirely out of the game. Super weird. Alright, I'm just killing the music and everything now. We're gonna see. Let's start up the game again. Really weird. Shit, it might have been Spotify. Yeah, I think it was the tunes. Toonskis. Wife?
What?
Would you like to invite me to your game again?
Shit. Okay, wait.
Wait, I can just join game. Never mind. I'm connecting now. Yeah, it must have been Spotify. That's really weird. Really weird. Oh, well, we're back here.
I'm buying another chest.
I want a new axe. Oh, just in time, because a zombie appeared.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it did. I'm telling you, a zombie just appeared. What?
Zombie!
Inside?
Yes!
Jesus Christ, that was loud.
I got really scared.
You did. You did get the really scared. Oh, nice. You've been remodeling. Very cute, very nice. Very like. I'm gonna kill some piggies. Very demure. Very demure of wife to scream like that, or?
No.
Oh. I mean, you get really used to fighting these piggies. Huh? Huh? I think what we should get for the tavern is a jukebox soon as well. So we can have tunes inside. What do you think about that, wife? Hmm?
I kind of like the music that is on.
The remodeling is very demure. I barely hear the music. That's on.
Shall we open?
I found one last bear that I want to kill. You can open for now if you want to.
Yeah, I can always close it again.
Yeah. Ouchies. I died. Never mind. I was not able to kill the bear. Hello! I died.
I saw you up here.
And you will always see me appear.
Oh, I put the barley, the meat, the eggs, and the corn in here.
Ah, that's why I couldn't find anything. Nice.
Yes.
Very, very good. Very good. Very nice. Very demure. We need another one of these. Oh my god! Shut up! They're hooting!
Are they excited?
They literally hoot when people come in. Oh my gosh. That is super fucking cute. We got a lot of people coming now as well.
the dishes.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Let's see if it loads. It stands and hand washes it as well. No, wait, no, sorry. It places the dirty dishes. Alright, so it places the dirty dish here. If I remove that, the normal dishwasher, and only have the automatic dishwasher. Oh my gosh. Order desk? We have an order. We can buy an order desk now? Oh my gosh.
I love the owls.
The owls are honestly like the best thing about this game now. Oh my gosh.
I mean, they make me so happy. I want to cry.
You're allowed to cry. What?
I mean,
Just look at them.
they're so cute.
Look at the teeny tiny
He's
little owls.
carrying it on his little head. Ah,
You can hear how happy she is, right?
it's so cute. I'm gonna die.
It's so fluffy, I'm gonna die. I haven't heard this in love since she met you. Frankenstein says she hasn't heard you this in love since you met me.
But she is a brilliant woman. And she knows it well. Babe, I love you as much as these owls.
Wow, that is actually... I'm impressed. By myself, that is.
Oh, hey, the owls also put up food here, right? Or was that you?
That wasn't me, no.
The owl, okay, the owls put it there as well.
Oh, but I loaded some of them, or one of them, the server I loaded up with stuff in the inventory.
Oh my god, I love these little guys. Ah.
Need 2 boiled chicken eggs, a beer mug. Oh my god.
Wait, are these clean dishes?
Yeah. The clean dishes come out the side.
Ah, okay, gotcha.
There we go. Let's cook that shit. We're gonna make more barley worts. Gosh, they are super cute. I'm gonna cook some steaks. Cause I think I might run an errand.
No, I'm gardening.
Yeah, but the owls the owls are literally taking care of business.
No, but you have to keep an eye on them. I'm almost done.
Okay. Yeah, no, like I don't need to run right now. They're the cutest. So fucking cute. Can I run an errand now?
Wait, what? No.
Nope. Then I shan't.
We need corn. Or the corn.
Oh right, boiled corn. Yeah. I'm boiling water. Let's see here. Corn for you, corn for you, corn for you. Oh my god. Are you having a hoot? That was Miss Frankenstein asking us if we're having a hoot.
We are. Most certainly are.
Oh my gosh, it carries them on its head! It carries the things on its head.
Yeah, I told you!
You did, but I haven't seen it from before now.
It's amazing!
Oh my gosh, it's the cutest thing in the world. Oh my
The
gosh.
best ever.
This might be the game of the century. Alright, I'm gonna run 2 errands now. Alright, I'm gonna run 3 errands as soon as I can fry some chicken. Alright. I'll do some deliveries. Oh fuck, we got a huge ton of people coming in, or a massive amount of people?
Massive people?
I don't know if they're that massive though. Like they seem fairly normal sized. Oh, come on. No sticky keys. Fuck off. Whee. Whee. It's kind of annoying though that we don't have a map. Like I can't see where everything is in relation to everything else. Are you doing okay?
No.
No? What's happening?
Why can't I put the eggs?
Oh, with boiling stuff, sometimes you gotta boil the water first, and then halfway through you add the eggs or the corn. So first you add water, press cook, and then the next part. I don't know if these guys are friendly. They have axes and shit. Nice. Well, I grabbed us a bunch of gold with food deliveries. Oh, look at this. Yeah, they have the eyes above them at times, so they're definitely not friendlies. Alright, one more bear. I'm gonna kill a bear, and if I don't, I'll return home. Oh my gosh, I did it. I've killed 3 bears, wife. For the mission. She doesn't care.
People do leave when they don't get served fast enough.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. I'm coming back.
Too late, I closed.
Okay. Well, I'm coming back in. Am I allowed to come back?
Alright.
Thank you. I found another painting, by the way. Oh, it's not a painting, it's a fucking... the carpet. Oh, come on. Nice. Arrow in the Knee Tavern? Shut up. That's so stupid. Can we even rename our tavern?
Oh, you found the sign outside?
Ale and Tail?
No, there's one on the side that says arrow to the knee.
Really? Because the carpet I just found was a carpet where it said arrow to the knee.
Yeah, I think that's the former.
Has to be, right?
Ooh, we got a bigger garden bed.
Really? Oh, there it is, yeah. Oh, it just unlocked?
Yeah.
Nice. Let's see here. There we go. Was there a drunk customer still there?
Yes.
Sick.
I need seeds.
What kind of seeds do you want?
Oh, we need hop to make more beers.
Yep, that I know.
Hmm.
Maybe buy a press as well. Oh, maybe a beehive and a thing. Alchemical lab. Man, we have so many cool things here. We can buy more serving tables at level 11. Food processor, bedroom serving table, washing machine, fish trap. Oh my gosh. There's so many things to unlock here, wife. I kind of want to buy a butterfly net and start catching, what are they called?
Bees?
Bees.
Hello, bees.
I'm buying one. There we go. Hello, bees. Alright, I think we're gonna stop selling like boiled corn, ale, and barley porridge because they don't barely give us any money or experience.
Well, I just planted a new garden of corn.
Alright.
I mean, the barley we use for a lot of things, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, we do. Let's see. Hop. Hop in there. Let me see. I'm gonna grab some eggs from the chickens. No, I don't want. I accidentally picked up a chicken. This is a very, very cute game.
I want a kitchen owl. Is that a thing?
I don't know. Haven't seen it. If it is a thing. It would be nice to have one, for sure.
We are at level 10 right now.
Yeah.
At level 12, we get the upstairs.
Ooh. That sounds really, really interesting, actually.
Alright, so I'm harvesting now. I won't plant any more corn after this.
Yeah, I don't think we need it right now, at least. Ooh, should I buy another brewing pot and fermenter? I will.
Greetings, traveler.
What did you do?
I will buy another brewing pot and
No,
fermenter.
why are there azure mushrooms in the food thing?
Oh, because I made a mushroom soup. We have a mushroom soup here.
It's made from those mushrooms?
Yes, azure mushrooms and the emerald mushrooms. Not the white mushroom, though. I don't know what to use that for yet, just yet.
I don't appreciate this.
Because you are a mushroom
I wanted
racist.
I wanted it to, like the barley, the eggs, and the corn put together, but
Sorry.
you ruined it.
Alright, I'll remove the things I
Ruined
ruined.
it. I'm leaving.
You're leaving, like, me, or...
You're so dramatic.
I am. There we go. I'm moving our owls
What?
into the dish room. There we go. Very good. What?
I thought the time was really late. Like in the real world.
Like how late?
I thought I was so proud of myself. I was feeling like, damn, I've really stayed up late now. I think it's like 11 o'clock or something.
And what time is it?
I don't want to say.
Why don't you want to say, wife?
It's a little after 9.
And you're really, really tired, are you?
I was so proud of myself.
I mean, you can still be proud of yourself.
No.
Of course you can.
Hello, my owl babies.
Owl
Oh, they
baby.
look so proud.
Right? They look like they really want to work here.
They are the best. Can I give them cupcakes now?
I mean, you could give them to hold, yeah.
It's not the same.
Alright, I am gonna try making grape juice. That was easy.
Should I open the tavern?
Wait, what? No?
I mean,
Maybe-
why not?
I mean, okay, sure.
I mean, it's stocked everywhere. I'm opening.
Alright. Do it. We need money anyway, and experience.
Yeah, and it's usually not quite as many people during the day.
That's fair. Hey, Panda.
Panda!
Panda!
Panda. Have you told them about the Swedish band, Panda da Panda?
I have not.
There's a Swedish band called Panda da Panda.
There's a Swedish band called Panda da Panda. And they are not the greatest. But they are
a party band.
But they are appreciated by a lot of people as well.
I have seen them live approximately 1,000 times.
1,000 times. Because you really love them as a band?
No, they appeared a lot when I was a student.
When you were a small little student. Bless you, wifey. She didn't sneeze. I sneezed.
I sneezed
Did you? When did you sneeze?
recently.
Oh
How
well,
dare you?
bless you then.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks for that, Pixie, just outing me there.
That's embarrassing for you.
That is embarrassing for me, actually. Slacker. I sure am.
Fucking embarrassing!
It is fucking embarrassing. Oh my god, new tavern level. Trout soup serving table.
Barrel stand.
Nice. Oh my gosh, we can finally just like have more of it.
Oh, look at the little owl!
Ah.
Hit me with your fat cock. Why don't you hit me with your fat cock? Hit me with your cum shot. Fire
away.
No.
Come on, wife, hit me with your cum shots.
No.
Please?
No, you do not deserve.
I don't deserve your cum shots?
No.
Wow. That is...
Do you realize how long it's been since you... No.
What the fuck do you want from me?
Your cum shot obviously, god damn it! I'm so obvious!
Jesus. No, chat. Just called you out for taking too long to come.
Yes!
Oh my gosh. Yep.
Can I be any more
Obvious.
obvious?
You can't be any more obvious, and I
News from the fields.
am blushing.
They say someone I'm sure is calling for you, asking for help.
Adorable.
I see the land is
Oh, there's
God fucking damn it!
what's happening? A look into the sex life of Dr. Vem, a story of disappointment.
Aww. That's only since you met me. No. Shit. That's
Jesus fucking
not right.
Christ. I wanted to have a
How
chill-
TF did I make this an 18+ stream out of nowhere? Just because of a simple
it's
blurb
past
that
my
I've played nearly every
bedtime.
single stream.
Yeah, I know, Panda.
I'm tired.
It's but you're really triggering the wife here.
Yay! Somebody needs to put me to bed.
Put you down?
Barley porridge, really? Fuck off.
So simple.
Gareth.
Gareth. You're so fucking
Any
simple.
relationship
Gareth.
to Legolas?
Why would Gareth be related to Legolas?
Gareth Greenleaf?
Is Legolas called Greenleaf?
Oh my god, you did not just say that.
I did just say that.
I don't even want your cum shot anymore. Have you heard of Lord of the Rings?
Yes, I have.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I love you so much.
Do you though?
I'm so tired.
Do you really love me though?
I'm not sure. Yes, of course.
I'm not sure.
Of course. Of course.
What the fuck is this?
I'm so tired. I don't handle it.
Oh my god, maybe do what the blurb said after the stream and hit my wife with my cum shot. Almost something is being triggered. From her wife's reaction, she might really want it. I don't know. I don't know if she wants anything from me anymore. She might just be really mad at me.
So, in The Lord of the Rings, Legolas is called Legolas Greenleaf. And when I see a customer named Gareth Greenleaf, I ask about his... Oh, you ordered a cupcake! Fucking out of my way! Gonna serve a motherfucking cupcake! To Hugo Stormrider! Hugo Stormrider ordered a fucking cupcake! pile of shit.
Jesus fucking Christ.
I'm so tired.
I don't know what's happened to my wife.
I am losing it.
But I really hope that there's some clippable material here for Soulthread.
No, I'm gonna dox you to make it not.
What the fuck? You're gonna dodge.
That's funny.
The
That's
fuck?
really funny. Wait.
Oh
Wait,
my
I need
God.
eggies.
Eggies! Then grab some eggies. What do you want?
Damn it. Oh, God damn it.
God damn it!
I thought I grabbed eggies.
Did you
but
not
I
grab eggies?
failed.
You are the worst at grabbing
I'm the
eggies.
worst.
The worst! Did she just say your dick looked like a little steamy pile of shit? No, not my dick. The
No,
cupcake.
the
The
cupcake.
cupcakes. Jesus fucking Christ.
That was very rude assumption,
Right? Super rude.
but hilarious, honestly.
Rude but hilarious? Is that where you're going with?
Ooh, now's a lot of people coming. Not speaking of cum shots.
Alright.
Deep breaths, darling. It's gonna be
Deep
fine.
breaths.
It's gonna be great.
You want a cupcake? Blam, 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 blam. Oh, we have fried boar steak as well?
I have no idea.
I mean, I found one at least. There's a couple of them here. Little Pixie started a Tanja dungeon?
The what, the what?
Wait, what? I've never done this in my stream before. Oh my gosh. What's happening there? We're all going into a little... It's like a haunted house? And we're fighting stuff? I can't even read. Wait. Oh my gosh. I think it's too late to join now, Samwise. I'm seeing like a little haunted house, like right here, and our dudes went in, and now it's just like... Pew, 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 pew. Am I hallucinating stuff?
Probably.
No.
Ah, there's a lot of people coming now again.
Would you just sound like King Julian there?
And we're running out of things.
No, we're not. What the fuck was that? SpongeBob stuff? Jesus. Alright. Let's see here. We probably need to take some stuff off the menu. Like the chicken eggs and the mushroom soup.
Hey, who left this bowl of onions here?
Bowl of onions? Just a big ass bowl of onions? Really? Alright, there we go.
He's just standing there, menacingly.
He's just standing there, menacingly. Yeah, I couldn't read what it was saying either. My gosh. Thank you so much for all the bits, by the way. Y'all are too kind. But I'm also happy that you're getting something out of those bits. Not just my pretty face. But also... that's what I hope you get out of it.
Oh, a lot more people coming in.
Nice. Good. We want money.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
What the fuck? What do you mean this guy stinks? That's really mean of you to say. Why would you say something like that to me? Oh, fuck. Barley warts.
We don't have any more boar steak?
Nope. It's all gone.
Oh, hey there, boyo! Lovely day for a boat wash!
The fuck is this? Lovely day for a boat wash? What are you doing? Jesus Christ. That is some disturbing shit. Grill Pro. Nice. Get a washing machine. And a Broom Pro. Are we professional broomers now?
No? Wait, did you say brewers or groomers?
Broomers? Why would I say that we're groomers? We're broomers. B-R-O-O-M-S.
Why would we be groomers?
Because we just unlocked having a broom. Oh wow, now Pixie's raining on my parade here. Quite literally. Wow. Sent the thunderstorm.
I'm removing the cupcake because we don't have any more cupcakes.
Oh yeah, that's probably smart. The fuck? Oh my gosh, Pixie just flashbanged the whole chat.
She flashed?
Flashbanged. So she just quickly had sex with the whole chat. That's what that means, I think.
So you cheated on me?
No, no. I did not.
I think there is a zombie incoming.
Ew. I don't like zombies.
Oh no, it was a dude in a dress.
You thought it was a zombie, it was a dude in a dress.
Yes.
That is... I don't know. I don't know what that is, wife. Feels like it might be a hate crime. Let's see here. Well, we're all out of barley.
I'm removing the boar steak. We don't have any more boar
Yeah, that's... We got some barley porridge left. But... not a whole lot. What do you say we just keep open until we have nothing left to cook?
Sounds like we should get a bad reputation for something like that, but yeah. No, because wait, we have to monitor our reputation.
There is a reputation?
Yes.
Where?
I don't know.
Oh wait, status, reputation, 80 out of 100. The more customers will come to you to the tavern and vice versa. Alright, gotcha. Cleanliness, 51%. Service speed is 95, variety is 95, but yeah, cleanliness needs to be increased. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, come on. I broke the hammer. Consumable. Hydrate stream. You all owe me money if you just fuck the entire chat. What do you mean? Are you saying that you're Pixie's pimp, Nobles? Is that what you're saying? Because I'm pretty sure that's not entirely legal as a profession. Today I am. Sick. Where are we going? Yes. We will now have a little bit of fried toad legs on the menu.
Shit.
It's legal if nobody snitches. That is not how that works either, actually. Barley porridge. I might actually have to go and buy more cups. What the fuck? Apple cat? What the fuck was that? It's only... No, Sam has a point. No, Stony, he doesn't have a point. It's only legal if you're caught before that. It's a moral issue. That is not how legality works at all, actually. That is... not how it works. Good sirs. Alright, oh, come on! Jesus fucking Christ, people are having a lot of fun with this Tanja stuff. Stressing me the fuck out as well.
Oh, there's a king here!
There's a king here?
He wants a trout soup. We don't have trout soup,
We
right?
don't have trout soup.
And we don't have fried chicken.
I could make fried chicken. No, we can't make fried chicken.
Okay, they want frog legs.
And carrot juice? I mean, we do have the... No, we had fried toad legs.
Alright, change his
But we
order.
have no carrot juice.
Alright, I'm changing his order again.
You can do that?
No, I cannot. Ah, shit.
I mean, he's not gonna leave a good review, I don't think. Should we close now?
Yeah, maybe.
I'm closing. Oh shit! There's like a ton of people coming in.
But you managed to close it, right?
Yeah, I close it right now. Fuck! Jesus in heaven. Like how burning down a building is only a crime if caught, sort of thing. No, that's no, that is not how that works at all, actually, Stony.
Now look, Buster, let's have an understanding. Now what?
No!
Brother, what a way to run a railroad.
Fuck.
Now, as I was saying...
Daffy Duck!
Zombies!
Oh shit, sorry.
There's usually 3.
Okay. I was upstairs, so I
Well,
wouldn't.
good for you.
Oh, Jesus. Why are you so angry, wife? Wife, don't be angry. Wife, be happy.
Alright, we need to buy beds.
Yes. Damn, we have so much money now as well.
Is this a brothel?
No, now it's a real tavern with an inn and everything. See? Nice. Hey, could you plant more stuff as well, maybe? Or I could plant more stuff if I had the hoe.
What did you call me?
I called you my wife, the love of my life, who tries my patience daily, and whom I will never stop loving.
Oh, I love you too. That was so sweet.
Yeah, can you stop being a bitch now?
You ruined it. I will throw non-vegan things at you.
Wow. You would dare, wouldn't you? Damn, right? Wife is just pulling out all the stops.
But you really should put me to bed.
What do you mean, put you to bed? You are your own person, wife.
Alright, what do you want me to grow?
Definitely more barley. And then, what else can you grow?
Carrot seeds.
Oh, fuck yeah, carrots. Oh, fuck yeah, buddy, some carrots. Throws cast iron pan. It's vegan! Oh shit, I ate.
I'm stuck.
Wifey, eat a steak in front of Dr. Vem. She literally has several times before. Just this weekend, when we were celebrating Miss Frankenstein's birthday, she had beef tartare.
It was delicious.
I bet you think it was delicious. If I'm vegan for health or life choices, life choices, definitely not health. I'm a fat fuck.
You are beautiful.
I didn't say I'm not beautiful, but thank you for assuming that just because I think I'm fat, means I'm not beautiful.
Well, you did call yourself a fat fuck, specifically.
Yeah.
I wanted to remind you.
Like, when you fuck me, am I not fat then as well? Am I not in a constant state of fatness, darling wife?
I will refrain from speaking to you.
Exactly what that means. Point wifey. She does like rare meats. That is very true. She is a vampire in reality. No, sorry, werewolf, right? Werewolves are the ones that like rare meats. Wifey can be friends with me. Nice. Should not she be the fat fucker? Oh, that's true. If I am fat, then wife is the fat fucker. And now Nobles is calling you a hippo fucker, wife.
What?
It's so mean. A werewolf. Y'all are so mean. Trout soup? How the fuck do we find crucian soup? Oh, right, yeah, because the merchant told us that we can go to the docks. Wait, how many were left? 3. My gosh.
Hey!
Oh, bless you, wife.
Thank you.
See, that time I said bless you. We don't have fried toad legs anymore. We got beer, we got boiled corn, we got ale, we got barley porridge. We got some boiled chicken eggs. That's about it. I'd love to have like running water inside the tavern as well. I think it would make a lot of stuff way easier. So does the wife have to lift the tummy too? No, she does not. Fuck, no, wait. Why am I even giving any of that information out? That is none of your fucking business.
What happened?
No. Pixie's wondering if you have to lift my stomach to, you know, do stuff.
That's rude.
Right? That is rude. So rude.
I am feeding the chickens.
I will...
And stealing their offspring.
I will buy a beehive and a new serving table. Clearly that's a yes. Obvious answer seeing the reactions. So shut up. It is not. My gosh. People are so mean to me. We should have the serving table here, I think. Yes, good, good. Here. What? Oh my... You very much invite us to be mean to you. That is very true. You're a stripper. Jesus. Just think though, Vem. Vem can hide his wallet on his fat pooch pouch. If he gets wrought up, but they don't look under there. Jesus. Forgiven. So all you have to do is just throw money at me. And then you'll be forgiven? Is that what you assume here? Well, I am nothing if not a cheap little whore.
What?
What? Why can't I place the beehive? Oh, do you think it needs to be in the paddock? Yes? Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Pixie. So sick. Oh my gosh. So sad. I don't even know what to do with the beehive. Like, where do you place it? Oh, here we go. I'm an idiot. It was clearly marked outside. I'm gonna go talk to the spirit of the forest. Do you want to come?
Who?
The spirit of the forest, the deer.
Yes.
Hello. There you go, chat. He confirmed it. Cheap little whore. It's auto mod.
What happens then?
Life will return to this place, and the animals will stop getting sick.
Oh my gosh.
Able to hunt. That's great news.
Yay.
I got a crossbow!
You got a crossbow? I didn't get a crossbow.
Crossbow!
Good luck.
I didn't get a crossbow.
Of course you didn't.
I gotta buy one, don't I? What the fuck? Where are you? Ow, fuck my ear.
Oh god!
Jesus, I'm sitting opposite yet. Oh, fuck me. Excuse me, but he's quite
immediately
expensive.
attacked.
Oh my gosh.
Oh god! I was immediately very attacked. Did you kill them?
No! I'm also getting attacked and murdered, for that matter. Oh wait, I killed a wolf actually. Dope. Oh my gosh, an expensive courtesan? Wait.
Are you dead?
No, I'm alive. I have 10 HP. Wait, I gotta see here. Alright, I'm approving this. There you go. Thank you for the bits, Nobles. Nobles literally just drew a dick on the stream. It's so fucked up. I died.
I died.
Hey!
Wait, you died too?
Yeah, I fought a pig. You might even say
Pressing matters.
you might even say I fought the law and the law won.
We have more pressing matters.
Like what?
Killing the wolves.
Why do we need to kill them?
Because they are guarding the things in the trees I need to shoot down.
Yeah, but we don't have to do that right now, do we?
What? Yes, we do.
Well, I don't have a shooty thingy and we don't have money for it, so.
Hit it with the axe.
Alright. Okay, wife. Where are you even?
Oh, it cannot get me if I jump up on the rock.
Nice.
Cool.
That's awesome, wife. I'm so happy for you.
What the fuck is this thing?
I got a jar of bees. I got a jar of bees.
I killed the evil nest.
Alright, I've learned how to kill the wolves. You just rotate around them. I'm by another evil nest, and there's nothing here. Like, I've killed the wolves around it.
Where is that?
Wait,
I see you.
Near the deer. Hello, bees.
Oh wait, I only have one arrow left.
You can shoot this down, and then we have 6 more arrows at home.
I'm gonna be the prettiest girl at the party.
Don't miss. Yay! Well done. Sweet. Oh my gosh. Alright, do you want to buy more of those pew-pews as well?
Yes.
Kill boars and kill turtles. Kill
I
spitting
really, really enjoy long-range weapons.
Yeah, long-range weapons are the shit.
Because I panic.
You are a wimp?
Yes. Ooh, I have wolf fangs.
I also have wolf fangs.
Welcome to All Things Scottish. Our slogan is, if it's, no
just
Scottish,
repeating
it's
all
crap!
the walk-ons now. Interesting.
We can afford a crossbow for you as well.
You know what? I kind of want to go to the shore and see if we can't get a fishing rod, maybe. Oh, but I'll buy a crossbow as well. Thank you.
Just in case.
Nice.
Alright, shall we go?
Shall we go, wife?
Yes.
Quite so, quite so.
Where to?
Lake. Over here. find a girl. I already found a girl. The cutest girl ever. See, that's how in love we are. But also, like, if I am a stripper in this scenario with stream and everything, is wife that sad sap who fell in love with and married a stripper then? Because that is... Wow, Frankenstein. You can't say that on stream. I shot it in the ass. Loot.
Oh, hello,
Definitely.
lady.
Oh my god, it's a mermaid?
Live in 3D woman. Only half, but worth twice as much. And what are you doing?
Only half worth twice as much.
Interesting. Why? I can't even swim. That's the point.
Something unpleasant has happened. What used to be smooth and clean has become overgrown, and all sorts of critters have settled in that don't belong here.
This sounds like she's talking about, like...
She got crabs.
Yeah, right? Like, she...
I could use some help from the audience.
The lake, of course.
Lake. Wait.
Jesus Christ.
What lake?
The swamp used to be a lake, with water as clear as a tear, but evil came and polluted everything it touched.
Standard situation. Not surprising. Where should I start?
First, you need to destroy the 3 dams blocking the streams flowing into the lake. But be careful, the dams emit toxic gas. You'll need a poison resistance potion.
Okay.
Alright, those are the things that killed us. For a while ago. Oh, did you also get a fishing rod?
No.
I got a fishing rod. I'm gonna fish.
Do it, baby. Show them how it's done.
I don't know how it's done. This is a really weird fishing mechanic. Alright, got a pufferfish. Look at my rod! Yeah, it's quiet. Alright, so you just need to, like, keep it in line with... Cool. Alright. But that also means we gotta make, do alchemy and stuff. Oh, come on. Nice. Right. I caught some pufferfish. More bees? Haha, I got bees. It's the bee's knees.
Wait, where are you?
I ran back to the tavern.
Why didn't you tell me?
I thought you were keeping track of me. I'm sorry, wife.
You left me out alone in the dark.
I didn't mean to. Come with me back to the tavern.
I'm lost in the woods.
Lost in the woods. You can find your way back.
Fuck you.
Excuse you? Why would you say something like that to me? That is not very nice, actually. Do you know this?
The fuck is that?
What do you mean? I'm gonna run towards you, or where I think you were.
I am next to a huge green cloud.
Oh yeah, the poison by the by the swamp.
What freaking swamp?
The lake where we met the mermaid. You're near there. Are you?
Fucking
What?
shit balls!
What happened?
Not like you can.
Fuck
Yes.
you, Riley. I made your mom so wet. Trudeau deployed a
What up,
24-hour
King
infantry
Otto?
unit to stack sandbags around my bed.
Where are you, wife?
No, you don't need to pretend to care. I'm back home.
I'm literally running around trying to find you.
I'm back home. It's okay. Stop.
Oh gosh, Bort has this game as well. Nice. Nice. Alright, so you're mad at me, wife.
Yes.
And you want me to die?
Do you understand why I am mad and disappointed?
Because I ostensibly left you without telling you?
Yes.
Yes.
In the dark.
In the
Without
dark.
a map.
And then you were lost in the woods.
And attacked by pigs.
And attacked by the bees.
Pigs.
Pigs. Alright. Put bees.
I need a lot more stuff.
You need a lot more what?
Storage.
Yeah. Me too. I understand your feeling. I also crave more storage.
I mean, the best thing about this game, after the amazing owls, is the sort button.
Wait, sort button?
Yes. In the chest, you can press sort.
Oh, well, I'm an idiot. I haven't seen it before. Oh yes, enemy's back, sweaty and back. Why are you sweaty,
Shall
enemy?
I open
Ew.
the tavern?
Really? Do you want to open the tavern? I mean, I was thinking we could, like, prep even more and maybe, like, do some missions. Or we could do another day.
Or maybe I should go to bed.
I mean, maybe. If you're a fucking wimp.
Yes, I am.
Yes, you are. You heard it here first, gang. The wife admits she's a wimp. I was in a crowded bus. I also sweat easily. Yeah. Same here, friend. Like, I sweat easily. I wasn't in a crowded bus. We get Carrot Joes now. We still got good reputation despite despite the king not getting what he wanted. Cool. Alright, we can eat apples and then we'll have apples left over. And we can put those in the compost bin.
What?
Nothing. Do you want to open? Wait, we probably need... Oh wait, we have more barley. Nice. Sweet Caroline. Wah, wah, wah. where the fuck's the server owl? There you are. You can have all that. We're gonna make some boiled eggs. What else can we make here? We don't have enough for mushroom soup. Do we have enough for boiled corn? We can make another boiled corn. More boiled corn.
Did you want me to open up?
Yes, let's open up. Let's go. Where were you at, enemy? That you had to take the bus to get home? Were you somewhere fun? Were you having fun? You're making fun of someone? I hope not. Alright, we're gonna put those here. There we go.
Guests incoming! Have you looked over the menu? What we're serving?
I have not. But I'm going to. Grape juice, boiled egg, beer mug, boiled corn, ale, barley porridge. Nice. Carrot juice. There we go. Alright. Should be all good. Ooh, we can make barley bread with just barley and water as well. What?
That sounds cool.
Right. Alright, we definitely don't need more carrots or grapes. Barley cake would be barley, water, and corn. Yeah, so we just continuously need barley and corn, I guess.
Okay. Then I will make more corn, because I thought I would not be making more corn.
Yeah, I know.
But I will make more corn.
But not porn, right?
I am confused, I made corn.
Oh no! I'm gonna add bread to the menu. There we go.
I'll run out and plant real quick.
Do it. Whee. Ooh. Interesting. There was a quest to save villagers that have been captured by orcs.
What?
So I accepted the quest just to see like what happens. This game is so cute. So gosh darn cutesy wootsy. Oh, you want bread? Oh, okay. You already served. Barley porridge. We have that. There you go. Bread. Alright. Let's see if anyone just wants bread. Nope. They want trout soup. How the fuck do we find trout then? Do you know, wife?
I think we need to learn how to fish.
I mean, I have a fishing rod.
Yeah.
But I've only been able to catch pufferfish with it. Oh, jeez. We can buy a fishing rod for you as well. It costs 300 gold.
Doesn't feel like we would need two.
Right.
Oh no, somebody wants bread.
Grill, mug shelf, fermenter. I bought more chests. Only for you, my wife. There we go. Ha! We can put the hops in there. So I'm moving like carrots and grapes into the beverage room. Are you okay with that, wife?
With what?
That I moved some carrots and grapes into the beverage room.
And they're used for beverage.
Yes.
Exclusively?
For now at least. I haven't seen them used for anything else yet. Oh my gosh, we can make wine now?
And large chest.
I just bought 2 normal chests as well.
Sell them back.
Oh shit, I can, yeah. Where's the server owl? Oh, there you are. Do you want me to buy a big chest?
Yes.
Large chest. For 7 more gold, we can buy another one. Oh shit, it's very large as well.
toad legs.
Wait, what?
The king
It's a
is
king.
back.
Ah, fuck. We don't have fried toad legs or boar steak. Wait,
Okay, but-
wait. I can make boar steak.
Alright, because then we can change his order.
Yeah, I can make the boar steak,
Yes, do it.
but he still wants fried
Yeah,
toad
but we
legs.
can change one order.
Do we do that now or
No,
after? No,
after we
after.
give him the
Yeah,
board.
gotcha.
Otherwise you change both.
All right, I'm serving him. Barley bread. Fuck yes. Oh my gosh. Did we actually serve a royal person?
Yes.
That is insane. Woot woot. That makes me happy.
It's
Those
pretty
guys are
cool.
great. It is pretty cool.
Oh no, he wants barley cake and...
Crucian soup. I can make the barley cake.
Okay, do that.
I think if I have fucking there we go. Corn. Alright. I mean, fucking of course this royal dude is gonna order off menu, you know?
Yes, obviously.
Your sawdust and an ale mug. You know what? We can get you some ale. 100% your serviness. There you go. He's still here. Oh my gosh. I mean, interesting mechanic to have a dude come in and just order off menu as well. Just like he knows we have these recipes, so he'll order what he fancies.
Yes. Oh, he left.
He did?
Yeah.
Nice.
Did he get everything or?
Yeah.
Cool.
I got him to change the fish thingy for just a normal fucking ale.
That's good.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Alright, the honey, the bees we have out there are producing honey like crazy.
There's another crown coming in.
Oh shit.
It's a lady this time.
A lady crown?
Crucian soup, trout soup, and barley porridge.
Nope.
Barley porridge?
Barley porridge we can do, but the rest, no.
Barley porridge? Okay, I'll change order. Fried boar steak?
That we can do.
Fried crucian. Okay, but we'll do the
Fried boar steak? Alright, you know what? I can run out and try to fish for a crucian. See if she'll stay. Alright. I think it should be here on the lake. I think I just need to go out on the docks there. Or we're only gonna find pufferfish in these waters. That's pufferfish. That's also pufferfish. Alright, so probably only pufferfish on this side. Oh my gosh. Is the royal person still there?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just gonna run into the tavern and check the map. Oh, should we get a bunch of people coming in as well?
Shit, shall I close?
No, yeah, not yet. Alright, we can go down for the lake there. Alright. Oh my gosh, there are 2 different royal people coming in. Jesus in heaven. This just became a little bit more stressful. With all the royalty. Ten animals were born? Sick.
Well, where are you?
I'm out hunting for fucking fish.
Okay, but I'll change that order.
Yeah.
And see what happens. Beer mug! That I can do.
Yeah. I'm gonna fish in the stream now.
Early porridge, that I can do.
Nice. Fucking another pufferfish. Do you think we won't be able to catch anything but pufferfish until we've cleaned out the shit for the mermaid? Because I think so.
Perhaps, yeah.
Hey, what up, bestie? Yeah, we're still up.
I need to go to bed.
Wifey does need to go to bed. This is very, very true. But she's such a brave girl. You are such a brave girl.
Early porridge.
Killed 25 boars. Mushrooms? Mushrooms. Should we close for the day as well?
Maybe yes.
Oh, wait, spider? Hey Pix, I'm 5 beers in, Hubs is getting kebabs and all is good. Nice. We are all doing good. People have been showering me with bits today. Both Nobles and Pixie have just gone apeshit with the Tandra interactions. We've been taking it easier. I'm closing.
Right, fried boar meat. Can you do fried boar meat? Oh wait, we have one. take the boar meat to the royal?
I grabbed it at least. Nice. One of our owls served it. I'm impressed how you or that you got the royal to stay for as long as you did now.
Right? I did good.
Alright, we can make barley bread and grape juice, and then we can change Crucian. Oh, you got it. Okay. Here's some bread. Isabella Moonshadow. Oh, she wants trout soup now. Well, she can go suck a fat one.
The snob.
Right? Whoa, oh shit, stuff has happened. You're playing the game I wanted to play for a year. How is it? It's so fucking cute. I love it. The wife loves it. It's the best, honestly. I think I'm grabbing a bottle of wine on my way home. Much love as always. I gotta get ready to get me shit started. Thank you so much for being here, Nobles. You're a fucking wonderful person. I died. Thanks for giving me a heads up about you starting your stream. I'm probably gonna raid out into you then.
I died as well.
I murder zombies for you. For us. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, we've been having a lot of fun with this game, honestly. It's super cute. Like, it felt that it would be stressful at first, but...
It is a little bit stressful.
Yeah, but you don't have to stress about it, either.
But people do leave.
Fair, but you can just, like, diminish the amounts of tables you have.
Yeah. I want more of these big chests.
Yeah, buy a couple. Could you buy... Wait, I want to buy.
And I'll sell the little one.
Yeah. That sounds smart.
Greetings, traveler.
Shut up. We want an alchemical lab. A
Sean the
crab
non-believer.
trap,
Sean.
I for real wanted to play this game with this couple for so long. You should get it for sure. And we should start over, all of us. What did you say, wife?
Nothing.
What did you say?
I'm nothing.
What did you do?
Nothing. Leave me alone.
Okay. Wow. For sure. It's a super cute game. Oh my gosh, we can buy swords now. I'm gonna buy myself a sword. Sword. Oh Jesus, take it easy, alright?
No.
Please? I don't want you dying on me. Pufferfish and venom gland. Let's try to cook that. Small health increase potion. Wait, the fuck? Let's see, you gotta try out different recipes? Okay. Wifey is the best. Do you hear that, wife? The stream thinks you are the best, and we love you.
Thank you.
Lialvi is in chat now as well.
Yay! I'm coming in with my large chest.
Your large chest, you say? Bestie is also very much the best. This is very true. Go get some. Alright. Ouch, ouch, my legs. You are smooched. You have officially been smooched. Let's see. Gonna put that away. I'm gonna grab some pufferfish, turtle shell, bear livers, crabs, I guess. Fucking wolf fangs. Honey. Mushroom. Oh, I need a mushrooms, I guess. Alright, we're gonna try out different things here. You and... No? 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 Alright, took that shit. Let's see what it is. It's slop. Nice. Okay.
What do I need to grow this?
Barley and corn. Pufferfish and... Oh, nice. It's pufferfish and bear liver. That creates the resist poison potion. Fucking yes.
Wait,
What?
what do you want me to grow?
Corn and barley. Corn and barley. Corn and barley. Corn and barley. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Fuck.
What?
Corn and barley.
Corn and barley.
Potatoes?
We can buy potatoes. Buy potatoes.
Potatoes.
Buy potatoes. We want potatoes. Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
Hey, what's up, Erblin? We can't hear the redeems, just so you know. That's fucking weird. You just said no more corn. No, I've never said such a thing. I love corn. Especially the band. Corn. That's what they sound like, right?
What? 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 What?
Exactly. What indeed? Yes, yes, plant the potatoes, darling. Make sure they grow strong.
The potatoes are planted.
Good, good. The fuck?
It ran right inside.
It did.
The fuck?
It's inside. No, it's outside. I loot.
Very rude.
How are your own potatoes coming along? They are growing.
Have you checked them?
I checked them today, yeah. We had a chili that was coming along, but I think either someone has stolen it when it got really good, or it's just fell off somewhere. We got some tomatoes that are almost done. Wow, posture check. Think someone might have stolen our chili. What else? Yeah, the potatoes are super fucking huge. Like, I don't think they're ready to harvest necessarily. But
Did you cut them?
no, cause how?
Alltså kupera dem.
Ja, men det gör man genom att lägga till mer jord.
Skrapa från det som är.
I did not cup them, though. I'm sad to say, wife. Terribly sorry.
We have potatoes.
Potatoes. Bestie's playing Warframe. Insanity. Boil them, mash them. Stick them inside of Stuart. Yeah, that's right, Stony. We're gonna shove a fuck ton of potatoes right up your booty hole. No, we're not. Or we're not. Stew. Oh, thank you. You gonna be around Sunday? We're gonna help out a friend on Sunday with something, but I might be around. Why, are you thinking more Apex Legends? Mr. Sir? Let's see, it's the carrots that's lowest. That or Supervive. Ooh, Supervive could be fun. But yeah, I don't know what Sunday will look like. Oh my gosh, we got potatoes. So many potatoes. But yeah, if I'm alive, we could definitely go for some Supervive and or other stuff. Right, let me see here. Potatoes with mushrooms. Potatoes, white mushroom, azure mushroom. Oh, there we go. Let's see. I think it might be like time to do the quest for the mermaid.
No, I need to go to sleep.
You need to go to sleep? Alright. The wife has spoken. She must go sleepy bye-bye. When she feels like it. Which might be never, considering how addicted she is to this game.
No.
No? Azure mushroom. Nice.
Alright, shall we log out?
Yes, soon. I just need to finish that. Yay! Potatoes with mushrooms have been made. Alright, I will exit. Oh my gosh. Alright. Hey gang. It's been real. Thank you so much everyone for joining, for being here. We're gonna raid out to nobles. It might be time for sleep, at least for the wife. But who knows? Who knows? Alright. We're raiding out to nobles. What the fuck is that dude playing today? Let me check here. Let me check. Is he even... He's not streaming right now. The fuck? Wait, it's like it says here that he's not streaming, but he said he was... Well, maybe he's like preparing to stream now. Who should we raid then? Oh my gosh, we haven't gone to Ginger for a long time. And some of y'all might not have seen him. Because that's the one, right? Yeah. Alright, we're gonna raid Ginger. He's playing some Baldur's Gate 3. So for all of you night owls, watch him get fucky with... I think he's still playing Brad. Brad is a dark elf who's a dickbag. Alright, I'll see you there. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for being here. Love you all. Bye.